let's get right into it. If you're prepping for a system design interview, there's one topic you absolutely, positively have to nail, and that's database replication. In this explainer, we're going to break it all down. What it is, how it works, and most importantly, how to talk about it so you sound like you've been doing this for years.
Just imagine this for a second. Your app is running, people are using it, everything's great, and then suddenly everything just stops. The whole service is down. Why? Because your one single database decided to call it a day. This is the exact scenario that keeps system architects up at night.
That nightmare we just talked about, it's caused by something we call a single point of failure. You see, when your entire application hinges on one single database server, its failure means your application's failure. Period. It's basically a ticking time bomb, and it's not a matter of if it'll go off, but when.
So how do we defuse that time bomb? Well, the fundamental answer is replication. Put simply, it's the process of making and managing copies of your data on multiple different servers. Now, this isn't just about making backups. It's about building a living, breathing system that can actually survive a disaster and still perform like a champ. The most common way we pull this off is with what's called the leader-follower model. Think of it like a boss and their team. You've got one server, the leader, sometimes called the primary, that's the single source of truth. It handles all the incoming writes, all the new data. And then you have the other servers, the followers or replicas, and their only job is to shadow the leader and copy every single thing it does. Okay, so we know we need to copy the data. Simple enough, right? Well, not so fast. The how and the when of that copy process is a massive decision. And that brings us to the two main strategies, a huge fork in the road, synchronous versus asynchronous replication. With synchronous replication, the whole process is incredibly careful. When a client sends some data, the primary doesn't just save it. Oh no. It first sends that data out to all of its replicas, and here's the key part. It waits. It literally will not tell the client we're good until every single replica phones home and confirms, yep, I've got the data. This gives you an ironclad guarantee that your data is consistent everywhere. Asynchronous replication, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It's all about speed. The client sends a write, the primary just jots it down in its own log, you might know this as the bin log in MySQL, and bam, it immediately tells the client, success, we're done. The actual work of sending that data to the replicas, that happens later, in the background. It feels super fast for the user, but it opens up a pretty scary risk. What if that primary server crashes before the background copy is finished? And this, right here, is our first huge trade-off. On one hand, synchronous gives you strong consistency. The data is guaranteed to be safe and sound on all replicas. But that waiting around means higher latency for writes. It's perfect for things like banking or e-commerce, where you literally cannot afford to lose a single transaction. On the other hand, asynchronous is blazing fast, but you have to accept that tiny window of risk where data could be lost. Think social media feeds or analytics dashboards.
And here's a little pro tip for your interview, something that'll show you've really done your homework. You can bring up the hybrid model, semi-synchronous replication. The idea is simple. The primary doesn't wait for all the replicas to respond. It just waits for at least one. This gives you a much better balance between keeping your data safe and keeping your application fast. It's a fantastic compromise. Okay, so replication is our safety net. It saves us from total disaster. But that's not its only superpower, not by a long shot. Those replicas we've set up can do a lot more than just sit around and wait for something to break. Let's see how they help us build a way faster, more scalable system. So those follower nodes, they aren't just sitting on the sidelines. They can handle all of your application's read requests. By offloading all those, hey, show me this data queries to the replicas, you take a huge amount of pressure off the primary node. This frees it up to focus on what it does best, handling all the new data coming in. This is a massive performance win, and it's a key point. This is read scaling. It often gets confused with sharding, but sharding is about splitting up data to scale writes. Here, we are copying data to scale reads. But now, let's go back to that nightmare scenario. This is where replication truly proves its worth, in that moment of crisis. What actually happens when the leader goes down? First up, here's our system in its happy place. The primary is green, it's taking writes. The replicas are also green. They're copying data and handling all our read traffic. Everything is running just the way it should. And then it happens. The primary server crashes. It goes red. All the incoming rates stop. For a brief moment, the whole system is in jeopardy. Is the app dead? Well, not if we have a good plan in place.
This is the magic of automated failover. The system detects that the primary is gone, the remaining replicas all talk to each other, hold a quick election, and promote one of themselves to be the new primary. Traffic gets rerouted automatically, and within seconds, the system is back online, taking writes again. That, right there, is high availability in action.
But, in system design, there's always a catch. There's no such thing as a free lunch. That incredible speed we got with asynchronous replication, it introduces a sneaky but critical problem, and it's a favorite topic to bring up in interviews. This challenge is called replication lag. It's simply the delay between when data gets written on the primary and when that same data actually shows up on a replica. So a user could post a new comment, immediately hit refresh, and poof, it's not there. Why? Because their read request went to a replica that hadn't gotten the news yet. They're reading what we call stale data. And this brings us right back to the central conflict, doesn't it? It's this constant balancing act. Do you want slower performance but a guarantee that your data is always perfectly fresh and consistent? Go synchronous. Do you need lightning-fast writes and you're okay with a small delay in data freshness? Go asynchronous. Okay, theory time is over. Let's put this all together into a package you can use. You're sitting in that interview, the question comes up. Here's how you deliver an answer that's going to knock their socks off. You start with this. This is your opening sentence. It's confident, it's clear, and it immediately hits the two main reasons we do this in the first place: keeping the system online and making it fast for users, high availability and read scalability. And then, this is your follow-up. This is the part that shows you understand there's no single best answer. It shows you know that the right choice is all about the trade-offs and what the business actually needs for a specific feature. This proves you're thinking like an architect. And finally, let's talk about the common traps to avoid. First, like we said before, do not confuse replication with sharding. Replication copies data for availability and read scaling. Sharding partitions data for write scaling. Second, always mention your failover strategy. How does the system actually recover? And last but not least, don't just ignore the consequences of your choice, especially replication lag and how that might affect the user experience. All right, let's bring it all home. Let's boil this all down to the absolute key points you need to have locked and loaded before you walk into that interview. Here's the big takeaway, the one thing to remember if you forget everything else. Replication is how you get high availability and scalability, but it comes at the cost of consistency. Your job as an engineer is to figure out where on that spectrum you need to be. In the language of the famous CAP theorem, you're making a direct trade-off between consistency and availability. So I'll leave you with this. Think about your favorite app, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. When you post a new video, how do you think they handle this exact trade-off?